Hello, thank you for joining us once again. Yes, we're still covering the sixth key driver of enterprise competitiveness, which is laws and policies that facilitate competitiveness. Important to note during this training topic is that in order to enrich young entrepreneurs, increase market for local produce, and empower local skilled labor, we need favorable laws and policies in the various sectors. Listen in to find out the different ways laws and policies affect industries. Enjoy!
We're still on one of the 7 levers we really moved. We began, I think, about January of this year. We are entering month number 7 because this is the first day of July 2022 when we began the things that aid or stop competitiveness of farms. So this is number 6. We're remaining with the 7th one, which will come maybe 2 weeks from now. So I began the thoughts for today's segment in the town of Juba this week. I always travel to these places for work, for business, but lately I've become very reflective. Whenever I'm in a city, that city has what it teaches me. City has a particular spirit, whether business or politics or culture, or I tune in so that I can learn. So in this city that I started doing business in from around 2008, 2007 actually, so this is more than 14 years, you will see that even with political uncertainty and conflict that is reported by world media, this town is still growing and the country gets investments. There are new hotels coming up every time I come here. There's more real estate. Even some sizably large agricultural investments in the outskirts of the city to provide food to the expanding population. The new addition in the global hotel brands in Juba is the Radissons, the Radisson Blue, they call it. That should tell you something. The absence of laws and regulations that I have been speaking about in the last segment does not curtail completely the flow of capital. Private capital is like water. It will find the easiest and most convenient way to flow, even take risks as long as the returns are good or are higher than normal. The real estate here in Juba, with limited land ownership periods, because they give you up to 20 years, the central and local government rules that you have to follow, they would be hard to do in real estate, but doing, well, the investors are. They are doing this, they are building the city, they are building the country because the returns are high. Real estate, however, is for a few. And as you know, agriculture, largely in our countries, is for many, if we want positive social change in our countries. Every country and a people group face different issues, but somehow, these issues are connected to matters of income. In the West, for the last 100 or so years, or even more, especially in the US, they have had deep rifts, deep disagreements based on race differences, which translate into income differences when you look underneath. In Africa, as we overcome 500 years of poverty and come into our space, we must avoid building our societies on hanging cliffs of classes that pits peasants and jobless educated people against a few rich in bulging cities. I suppose these income differentials, these class differentials that are emerging is the reason some people interpret problems and solutions with a tribal or a religious lens instead of fighting for access to opportunity for all, which we all want. To avoid this, our country's leaders, and in Africa, must fight to grow the top line numbers, as we say in the business, of the economy, while at the same time raising the bottom of society up so that we all can meet in the middle. The high and the low meet in the middle with better incomes and a stronger rewarding domestic market for local farms. This growing income and growing domestic market starts with substituting the imports of food that we bring in, both in Uganda at a lesser extent and in South Sudan. Some of the food we bring in Uganda, for example, is cooking oil. Cooking oil stands at a whopping $319 million worth of imports annually to Uganda. So you can see how much cooking oil we consume from the West, yet we have sunflower, we have good climate, we can do organic great oils that are healthy for us. The other one is rice. Some $90 million we spend annually to get rice from Thailand, from Malaysia, from India, all these. Substituting just these two items on our import bill, okay, maybe substitute is a bigger word, bringing them down a little to half. This would improve the capabilities of growers, of farmers, because you are giving them good seed. You are doing good crop husbandry. You make our country competitive against Malaysia, Pakistan, and Indian farmers, because we're all in the race for income here and in those countries. Every country wants to protect its market and its exports. So we've got to do our best with the climate and conditions God has given us and do more. When you do this, when you incentivize these farmers with good seed, with good crop husbandry, good animal husbandry, with finding new markets, it makes it a little easier to demand for protective laws. Remember our podcast segment last week, we're talking about laws and regulations that build businesses. This is where I'm still am, number 6. It becomes a little easier to demand for protective laws which grow businesses that are lying in the value chain from production of these items to their consumption. So at this juncture, really, I want to thank the President of Uganda, His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni. I'm bringing this name in this podcast, I think, for the first time. Why? Because he has taken a stand on 4 principled areas of focus at the start of this year, and he has led the way in seeing the future. What are these 4? He says, first, that we all need to work hard, not some, all of us to work hard to bring up the 15 million people, 15 million is the 39% at the bottom of our society. Bring the 15 million people at the bottom of our society who are in the subsistence sector or who are simply growing food for eating and no surplus for sale. Bring them into the money economy. Secondly, that we work hard together as Ugandans at saving the critical foreign exchange for capital and intermediate goods for companies by cutting down importation of food that I described above and more. The food, the things we can grow and do here, such as furniture that we make here, repairs of automotives, the equipment that can all be serviced by Katwe boys, who have, by the way, demonstrated time and time again their skill and resilience in our economy, yet we tend to ignore them. That we cut down that import bill. The third one, he says that we must focus on the use of science and scientific knowledge in production at a lower level, intermediate, and a higher level, so that we increase the levels of processing of all we produce, from bananas to meats to dairy to grains to minerals and many more. And number 4, that we get pretty aggressive. I use the word aggressive because in the conversations our export committee has had with him, those are the terms, aggressive. We must be aggressive with exports and how we promote them in key markets, so that, and that we do this with good market research on what Uganda can truly bring to the market. Now, these 4 are really good principled stands, and I support them, and we're in the segment of exports. Now, I will find time on this podcast soon to speak about our work in the area of export promotion, and opening up markets in a new way for our country through the Exports Advisory Committee and the progress we're making. I wish you a great weekend. Thank you.
Would like to hear from you. Please email us at info@tapmedia.com and visit our website at www.tapmedia.com. You can also visit our offices located at Tomosi Business Park, Luzira, Port Bell Road, or call 0414 220 702. Thank you.